Yes, here we go. P.M.P. after a really close, tight-knitted encounter at Hampden. The two biggest teams in the country right now, the two domestic rivals with unbeaten records, went in a nail-biting semi-final game there that was edge-of-the-seat stuff from start to finish. I'm just glad we managed to overcome our adversities today, and we'll discuss it all, as usual, late Saturday night. This could be dangerous for me and Terry. No refs anymore either. This could go fucking Pete Tong pretty quick. But yes, welcome along to the show. Remember to do all that good stuff where we get stuck in. Gives a wee like, gives a share, buy some hair, all that carry on. Hit the subscribe button, hit a bell, never miss a bus. And if you want to become a member, it's $1.99 a month. It just helps keep the wheels on the road. If the next time Celtic are playing, you want a wee tasty pastry treat, head to piesports.com. Bus 1888 is the code. Terry, what's happening, my man? You're pretty compass mentis for only 11 minutes late. I don't know what the time delay is where you are for like when Brendan finished speaking. You know, I don't mind you being late. Just didn't tell me lies.
All right, I had to go and get a bottle cracked open and a glass of ice and a few bits and bobs. But listen, it's going to be hard for us to fall out tonight, but I'm sure we'll find a way. We'll find a way. But here, I just want see this big sort of red balloon. That's that burst. That's that myth about title challenge, Aberdeen, this, that, and the other. That's that done. Scottish football's just been completed. It's like that computer game that you get to a point where it's done. It's over.
Yeah, I get a feeling that you're right there, mate.
That was just complete. And I think I said it last season. But the supporters were singing there. See, for the last 15 minutes, we're on our way to make it 10. We can make it 10. We can make it 20. We can make it as many as we want. The only thing that's going to stop Celtic now in Scottish football's is Celtic's desire to
Brendan playing himself
to make this a monopoly.
Brendan playing himself, maybe in the left wing, could be a problem. Judging by his
that game just had everything, like from the smoke gate at the start to Brendan's aggressive pass to
no one got to see where that ball went. I bet it was straight to feet of someone. And everyone just focuses on the fall. I'm looking at the ball going, that looks a nice flight on that. I'm telling you right now, that's going right in the Calmax feet.
I bet you Maeda was chasing after it like mad, trying to get
probably still isn't it? But definitely, what a night. I mean, you can really see now why tomorrow's semi-final is basically can't cook, won't cook, or can't win, won't win. Motherwell probably will feel like they can't win because that's how they go into these games. Rangers, just the way they are right now, won't want to win. Or you could flip it and say Rangers can't win because the inevitable then happens and it is a final that will absolutely, if they're not already in meltdown mode enough. It's interesting right now. I knew this weekend was going to be I was on the Friday feeling last night with Phil and that, and I said,
I watched it today.
Without the top four playing in the league, this weekend has a massive impact on the landscape of how the league plays out. Obviously, I can see you nodding there, Terry, for once you agree. So whenever you're not on the screen, you always seem to agree with me.
I agree. But here's the thing, Bhoycie.
Go on.
We'll obviously go through this game and the gulf that was between the two sides. But I suppose in a strange way, and the commentary team did touch on it as well. I mean, a little bit like the Dortmund match, Aberdeen can probably just write this one off and try to regroup again, much like we did, and then come back and be able to get a result in Atlanta. But there's not going to be a title race, really, is there? And if you're a Rangers supporter sitting here, if you're a Rangers supporter either sitting to watch the game tomorrow or you're going to that game, what's the best result for you? Is it better that you get beat by Motherwell?
That's what I'm saying. Can't win, won't win.
Or is it better that you win and have to play us? It's anyway, that's for them to worry about.
Can't win, won't win for them tomorrow, definitely. I mean, I messaged the wee group chat I'm on. All of them are Rangers fans. It's great. And I just said, having seen midweek's game and, all yous to a man kind of telling us that top to bottom, they're a better team than us. Off the field, on the field, Aberdeen are ahead of us. You can see why now. I can really see why. They ran us right close 3 days later. pumped them 6-0 in a semi-final.
And
I mean,
to be
the
honest,
now is crazy big. I don't know why I'm doing the Gary Neville arms, but it was it's crazy how far ahead we are. But again, we'll always look at it from without praising ourselves enough at times. And I go, the common denominator is the last time we seen this sort of golf is guess who was in charge then? Brendan. But again, it'll get put down to worst Rangers team you've ever seen. They get worse when we get better. Of course they do, because the gap is exaggerated by how well we're playing and how they're probably just staying on par for what they are. We've just moved miles away.
I watched your show back, Phil's show from last night. I watched it this morning just to get me in the mood. I was excited for this game, really looking forward to it. And in many ways, it's been a bit of an anticlimax just because it was such a stroll. But we'll take it. But Phil's been at pains for the last few weeks to sort of say that Celtic Aberdeen game at Celtic Park, the 2-2 draw, that he wasn't overly impressed with Aberdeen. And what happened today is what should have happened that day. That's what would have happened under normal circumstances. We went in, a couple of goals up, and we came out the second half and we just blew them away. And that's what I expected to happen that day. And that's what should have happened that day. And that's what would normally happen that day. And I think that result that'll turn out to be a bit of a freak result. And what we've seen today, I think, is going to be business as usual. Certainly on the domestic scene for the rest of the season.
Couldn't agree more. I think as well with today, I think when it gets to like the sort of business sort of meetings, I know you're saying they could recover like we did in Dortmund, but I disagree because they don't have that experience in the bank. This whole thing's been a new thing for them that they're on their own. This is like suddenly out of nowhere, an absolute demolition job that definitely derails them. It puts them back in the second place fight.
I hope not. I hope they can. I hope they can keep this.
But I don't think the example though of us against Dortmund is, in my opinion, because I just don't think they've got that experience or credit in the bank yet. This whole thing's a new wave, so this is now a new experience getting that defeat. Whereas Brendan's probably, I don't know, his fourth 7-goal fucking defeat in Europe.
And he hadn't learned from any of them.
He's like, fucking, he's well versed in it now. But for them, this is like they've went from really like peak moments, unexpected peak moments, to a really unexpected absolute demolition job. But what I loved about the attitude, and fair play to Mulgrew, because he said at half time, he went, the reason Brendan took a swipe at that ball, it was the second time apparently he tried to do it, is because he wasn't happy with the first half. Bear in mind we're 3 goals clear. Now we're not obviously privy to everything that's going on the touchline when you're watching it on the TV cameras. Obviously Mulgrew's watching it in the stadium. He's picking up on the vibe, and he's like, I don't think he's that happy. Brendan then, as I know you were watching it, Terry, on a 10-15 minute delay, whatever it was over there, Brendan kind of agreed and said he wasn't all that. If you're not that happy beating the other unbeaten side in the country, who are 15 games at this point, 14 wins, 1 draw, the draw being against us at our own patch. We're 3-0 up at half time, he ain't happy. That tells you the levels were now going up. And I like that.
Compare that, Bhoycie, to last year, whenever he was sitting in the dugout or walking along with his hands in his pockets and his head down, which I made reference to lots of times, when we needed him, when we actually needed him to make a difference. Compare that to today, whenever we were coasting and he was still unhappy with elements of the display. And that's a complete change in what we've seen at times last season.
Just to confirm, I don't think the cat's killed the dog or the field.
There's something happened.
Bobo's lying on his back, looking pretty much dead.
Was it me bursting Aberdeen's balloon? Have I killed the dog?
He's kind of looking out the windows, if nothing to do with me.
But have I killed the dog by bursting the balloon?
Fuck. Oh, fucking hell, man. It's leaving my dog. We'll need to rewind the tape. I'm not getting the blame for this. Anyway.
VAR sort it out.
Of course it will. It always does. But
what
I like about it though is...
well, so it might not.
Look. Bobo. Oh, thank fuck. Oh. Right, anyway, let's crack on. Yeah, but there's a ruthless attitude to that takes then, eh? A proper ruthless attitude of 3-0 at half time. And he's raging. And the reason they think he's swung at the ball that second time is because he actually tried it before. It's a level of frustration he's got. And that's telling you, like, if he's looking at that team and he's not overly impressed with what he's watching when we're 3-0 up, his standards have went up. And when you refer to last season, as I've always described it, I felt he was Brendan Light. He was in the halfway house of don't want to be too egotistic, don't want to be too much me, like I've just waltzed back in and nothing's happened. But that diluted what I feel he's capable of as a manager. And this year, now with 2 trophies in the back, he's just now flowing again. And to me, he looks far more like the guy that we were that rage and he left. The whole reason there was, so much anger at Brendan is we didn't want him to go. That's the reality, Terry. It's because we didn't want him to leave. That's where the anger all built from. So it's because of the good points. I think he was scared to be too much Brendanish when he first came back without being a wee bit more humble. But I thought it left him in the halfway house at times and left him open to judgments like you made of he doesn't look animated, he doesn't look invested in this. And I get that. But this time around, well, you know what I mean? He's trying to get fucking Nicholas Kuhn's gig on the right wing.
Aye, and I think, Bhoycie, see that ruthless streak? I think we take that back to the team lineup because that's not the starting lineup I thought we were going to see. And I think he's been absolutely ruthless with Liam Scales. And I expect Scales to come back in again today. And I'm not 100% that this means Trusty's definitely his first choice, but I'm 99% that that's what it is. And he explained before the match that he brought him in because of his speed and his athleticism. And he also at the end made reference to the fact that he wanted Trusty there because in the league game, Aberdeen's pace up front caused us issues.
Now, Terry, quickly on that. Remember when Trusty was getting loads of jip, right?
Yeah.
For one of the things folks say, he doesn't even look that quick. Yeah. See, when you actually reflect on everything, you go, that's when you know it's just a free-for-all on players at times. You know what I mean? Because literally after the game, I know you were watching it, Rodgers, the reason he played today was for his pace.
Yeah.
But yet, whilst he's just getting folk aren't convinced by him, even his pace was called into question. Like, is he really? And you're like, that's a physical attribute that surely can't be like made up.
But see now, yeah. He can run the 100 meters in whatever time he can run it in.
Since he joined us, load of shite.
But I see, for the reasons he brought him in today, I think for any big game that we're going to have this season, those are going to be the same reasons that you're going to play him. You're going to play him in the Champions League games because the other teams will have pace that we're not used to playing against. You're going to play him in the cup final because Motherwell will have a bit of pace up front, or Rangers if they get through. The reasons for picking Trusty, I think he's made a reason
of course
for selecting him before Scales, but that reason will be the same in every single game.
It's a nice reason.
Yes, it's a nice reason. And I think he brought Scales on when you don't normally bring centre backs on, but we're kind of maybe focusing on, and I've probably been guilty of this, of focusing on who's our best centre back pairing. I think this 3 are going to play loads, and I think what's going to happen is Carter Vickers' minutes are going to be managed to try and maintain his fitness, to have him peak for the games that we need him peak for. And I think that's going to mean Trusty and Scales both get lots and lots of game time, and there probably won't feel as if there's a first 2. It'll feel like there's a first 3, and I think.
Oh, they will know. They will know, but they'll just have to nod along with the whole pace.
Yeah.
Scales is like fucking hell, man.
But here's the thing: at 6 million, Trusty's always going to be the one that you plan to be there long term. But I think as long as Carter Vickers is at Celtic, we're always going to need a really able backup, because he's. His games that he's available for are getting less each year that he's been with the club, and that's going to continue. And that doesn't mean Liam Scales is no longer first choice. I think, and if we'd a cup final tomorrow or Champions League game tomorrow, well, we've got one in a couple of days. Trusty and Carter Vickers.
Yep.
But I think
Right now we'll go under the pace theory,
deals.
and then hope every now and then you can just say, see if he's got a niggle.
Aye, but you can
Cameron,
understand.
don't tell anyone you've got a niggle, right? And we'll just put Scalesy in, right? Just say you're fit. Just say you're fit. We'll bring. Everyone's a winner.
But the other one's probably a little bit more contentious, because I can understand the Trusty one when he has looked quite silky playing alongside Carter Vickers, and we've said that about so many Celtic centre halves. He looks better when he's alongside Carter Vickers than when he's not. He also looks better on the left hand side. So, and he also cost 6 million, and Liam Scales cost just over 500,000. So that one you can rationalise. The Bhoycie, sorry, mispronunciation. The Bhoycie for Taylor one, I think is a lot more telling. And again, we touched on it last week, but I think Taylor's for the off, and I think this lad's now first pick.
And by the way, is he not growing on you, that Bhoycie, as well?
Well, I was always really
he's got balls, mate.
I was always really prepared to give him the benefit of the doubt, because you don't come from where he's come from without having the talent. It's just whether he was able to adapt, and
he's got a bit about him, though, mate.
A young lad. He's got plenty.
What was his first contribution in a Celtic jersey? That wee flick. Remember the team goal?
He's got plenty about
him. And he finds himself outside their 6-yard box on the half volley, just as a wee flick into the path. I can't remember who scored the goal. I think, where was it? McDermott, pal? We scored loads that day. Could be anything. Anyway, I always thought then, that was fucking. So his technique is shit hot. I think he's very tidy on the ball anyway. He utilises it well. See his drive to get it back, though. Even if he has misplaced the pass, you'll quite often find it's Bhoycie who wins it back. So he's got a bit of tenacity to him. He's got the desire there as well. And at 20 years old, coming into, let's be honest, for Spain to Scotland is a culture shock. He's only 3 months into this at 20. Think what you were like as a man at 20, a boy at 20. You know, like, he's doing really well right now. And I think he is already now warming up to be that first choice, as you say, as and when needed. And the sooner Greg Taylor gets rid of his curtains, the sooner he gets back into contention for the game. Brendan's like me. He knows there's a hairband coming. And he's don't do it, Greg. Don't do the hairband. I'm telling you now. But he's warming up for it. I can see.
I moved from Antrim to Birmingham when I was round about that lad's age, and I couldn't deal with that. And that was complete. That was too big a move. And it's only 45 minutes on the plane, and the weather's the exact same. But it took me the whole 3 years that I was there to kind of get myself adjusted, and by the time I was adjusted, I was ready to come home again. So it's really, you can't underestimate how difficult it could be for some of these young lads. And you just think because they're playing football and because they get paid good money, that it's just going to be natural for them and easy. And we were watching there at the end, and I was waiting to see if the interviewer was going to ask Maeda a question, because there was no way he was going to be able to answer it, and he just was kind of standing there looking sort of sheepish.
The silent assassin.
Sheepish, the right word to use today. He was looking sheepish. And he was just there to grab his bottle of stuff. But even those guys from Japan, like,
I guarantee you Maeda speaks fluent English.
Do you think they just play along?
Nakamura apparently the whole time. Yeah. Nakamura even had a translator. He was that convinced, or that desperate to convince he couldn't. He'd have a translator that everyone was like, fuck off. Too many times he was caught laughing at training.
He knew what was going on.
How could you be laughing at that if you don't speak? Fuck off. Definitely, I think Maeda can speak English. He's just silent assassin, mate.
You touched on something there when we were talking about by winning the ball back, and we'll go through the phases of the game now. And remember, Bhoycie, it was nearly 30 minutes before we actually got the first goal.
Sure.
Which, but what I was really, really impressed with today with this Celtic team, we'll go through the goals, and there were some brilliant goals and some brilliant contributions. But what I was really, really impressed with, and what we did in the first 30 minutes, and we didn't really. I said to my dad just before we scored, we haven't troubled this keeper yet. But what we were doing well was we were winning the ball back, and it was every player on the pitch. It was Maeda on the left, Kyogo in the middle, Kuhn.
Mhm.
Kuhn had made 3 really telling contributions in the defensive sense, and Duke absolutely left Alistair Johnson for dead in the first couple of minutes, and it was Nicholas Kuhn who got back and retrieved the situation, and he'd done that 2 or 3 times in the first 20 minutes. And probably the only thing you and me could probably fall out on tonight is I don't think Maeda was man of the match. I think Kuhn was man of the match.
Yeah, I get that. And there's
my
loads of
man of the
examples
match.
as to why. That's totally fair.
Maeda got the 3 goals. I thought Kuhn, it was.
There's plenty of examples we can get through if we're going to do a wee bit of chronological. I think
let's do that for a change.
I think they'll be highlighted though. I think that'll be highlighted though. No, definitely, mate. Definitely. I felt the game kind of kicked into life when McGregor got booked. Inadvertently, Clancy's.
Yeah.
You're prodding like Celtic's one of these teams that come to life with a wee bit of, the big occasion. And see when you feel like, what the fuck just happened? They're frustrated. That decision was bizarre. And no shock to see within 4 minutes, we got the park and score. And I do think that booking plays a part.
Wasn't even a foul.
Wasn't even a mate, it's not, it's knee height at best. Both players' boots at the same height.
Yeah.
McGregor wins the ball. Suddenly, first booking we got, I think. I'm not sure if in fact, their defenders had a booking. Anyway, first booking we've got, and it just seemed out of nowhere. It felt like it was for the sake of it. And you're going, And see, I think when the team sees Callum McGregor raging or frustrated and going, well, it's this. I think they feed off that though too, because he's the blueprint of this team, the green print of this team. That's who he is. So his emotions his energy sort of feeds off into the team. And suddenly it was like, right, you've just given us a wee bit extra stimulation here. 4 minutes later, it's no surprise we score now.
And it was that dickhead Nielsen. Because Engels and him were embroiled in an altercation and there was nothing in it, and he was waving the imaginary card, and then within about 2 minutes he done the exact same thing. That's right. And didn't get booked for it. And he was involved in anything that was negative and any sort of needle. He was in the middle of it. But McGregor, I'm just bemused what the referee's seen. And
well, it was a good thing in the end.
Oh, it was a good thing in the end.
Anger is an energy, mate.
Probably acted as the catalyst for us to say, yeah, do you know what? Let's up it here and let's just we
up the ante after that, mate. That's what happens. And we get the goal. Talk to him about Cameron Carter-Vickers' header. No complaints for the Aberdeen team whatsoever. Nobody challenges him. They're marking zones. It does look like he's got both hands on the guy's back, to be honest. In fact, it does look a bit of leverage, to be honest with you. Were you surprised it didn't get checked for any longer than it did? Because obviously they check every goal. We're always told that.
Yeah.
But I thought this might turn into let's look at that again. Do you know what I mean? You kind of follow the commentary a wee bit as well. So when they reference it, you think, not that it should influence the VAR room, but you can't help but feel that. But then it didn't seem almost instantaneously the game was kicked off again. Yeah.
First of all, I would say very un-Celtic-like goal. But we've scored a few un-Celtic-like goals this season. And I think Engels, I had actually made a mental note in the last game. In the last game, that his corners were ridiculous. Like they were terrible. His corners in the last game were terrible. And I'm sitting thinking, and you just automatically think, price tag, the corners you've just taken. I've watched them and they're terrible. But they're
only 4-yard passes too.
But that was a very un-Celtic like goal that's now becoming a more regular Celtic type goal. Carter-Vickers, not the tallest, but he does chip in with his goals. He's usually good for about 2 or 3 a season, and they're usually important ones as well. I'm thinking of the one at Ibrox. So he usually when he scores, they're important. That one was important because,
of course, it was.
Like I say, we end up winning 6-0, and it's a procession. But after 28 minutes, it was 0-0, and we hadn't troubled the keeper at all. So very important one. And just being a Celtic thing, you're sort of expecting if there's any way at all that this goal can be disallowed, then it will be. But I think the fact there was no protest from the Aberdeen player. I mean, if he in any way felt that he had been fouled, they would all have been running around the referee.
I think there's no attempt to play the ball by any Aberdeen player.
I think
that's what works. There's only one guy who wants to head that ball.
Yeah.
And therefore, I think that's what's won the day.
I think it looks as if he's got hands on and he's probably made contact, but I don't think it's made any difference. I don't think there's been enough pressure to stop that guy getting up to win the ball.
There's no one else going for it. That's it, even including that guy. Totally agree. It was interesting as well to hear at half-time the two different takes on marking. So Charlie Mulgrew's talking about, I love zonal marking. And he's obviously right now doing the whole pitching himself as a coach. Big Mulgrew will get a gig somewhere. Too good luck not to. But it was that Considine he was standing beside, and he's like, no way. He goes, if that's man marking, and I can't remember the player he said, but he's obviously picked his Aberdeen, that goal doesn't happen. I always think it's an age-old debate, isn't it? Because you go, there literally did look like no one's whatsoever on CCV at set piece. And I think that's where the frustration came for Considine. He's going, if he's man marked there, that goal doesn't actually happen because it's someone's set job to prevent. By the time whoever is in that zone or closest to that zone reacts, the ball's in the back of the net. Where do you stand on that sort of thing?
I've always been one for man marking, Bhoycie, but
Malloy, that's who he suggested it should have been.
Yeah, Malloy. And the interesting fact about him is
I just do your Google searches tonight today. We'll just wait.
No, I've lost you. Hold on a second. The interesting thing about him is that he won a league winners medal last night in the Republic of Ireland League.
Really?
Yeah, because because their league just finished last night, so all the games were complete. So he's moved to Aberdeen from Shelbourne during the summer, and he's played enough games to get a league winners medal. And Shelbourne won the league last night, just pipping Shamrock Rovers, who was Liam Scales' old club. So he's won a league winners medal last night, and then
Damien Duff.
Damien Duff's the manager. Yeah, he's won the title. Aye, he's won the title. I was always man to man, Bhoycie. I was always thinking if every single man's picked up, then it's man on man, and if it goes wrong, you know who's not done their
accountability.
Job. But the more, and I'm only a real novice when it comes to this, but the more I've been starting to work with kids and get involved in coaching kids, I'm coming round to the zonal a bit more. I don't really know why, but
interesting though with two defenders.
If you've got maybe five defenders dotted around the key areas, around front post, middle of the 6-yard box, 2 or 3 back post. If you've got players there and they go and attack it, then you should have someone within close enough proximity that they can go and win the ball.
Is it one of those things where a zonal marking system, when it does concede a goal, looks worse?
I think it's there's always going to be one. There's always going to be one goes in, and then it's zonal.
The optics look worse as well.
So,
they do.
But then next week you'll have an example where a team goes man to man, and it ends up in the net, and then they'll go, "You'd be better with zonal," because if it was zonal, there would have been a man in front, and he would have got that. I think it's.
But is there a simpleton attitude, which I'm probably guilty of?
Swings and roundabouts. It sounds good. It sounds good if you're a pundit in the stadium and you're going one way and.
Well, I'm pretty simple, Terry. Do you know what I mean? I think from my point of view, I just prefer having accountability and going, he's lost his battle there, but I can process why that happened. And that's maybe just proper simpleton, just watching the game for an armchair sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean? But I kind of lean towards that because Cup semi-final, the magnitude of it, you're in there for half an hour in a game, and CCV definitely our biggest threat for a set piece, unless he does in the park. Free header back post.
But then was it a free header though? Because that guy was standing right beside him.
Well, I know, but he was getting used as a pogo stick, so.
But that's up to him. That's up, if he was strong enough, he was
getting him a punty. He was getting him a punty up. Anyway,
he was celebrating his league winners medal last night at about 3 in the morning.
maybe. And Malloy Malone's. Right. Anyway, That opened the floodgates. That opened the floodgates.
£2 a pint.
Well, not anymore. That was a good month though.
You
That
destroyed
opened
it.
100%, mate. 100%.
That opened the floodgates. £2 a pint.
Aye. The pub gates. Right, anyway, that was it after that, wasn't it? Because then it became a bit of a procession towards half-time, and I think Aberdeen at that point were just begging for the bell to go. Do you know what I mean? They want in. They looked like they were going to do a sub. Remember that? After the second goal? You know, he didn't quite know what to do.
That's just the manager. That's just the manager wanting people to go, right.
Oh, look, he's still on the ball. I shouldn't have said all that shit. In fact, I'm glad I said all that shit on Friday night. You know what I mean? He's went to seed. He obviously
he's in
watches
the
the
crest
bus.
of a wave. He's riding the crest of a wave, Bhoycie, as well. Like he's just emerged. Like let's not make any bones about this. None of us knew or ever heard of this guy before, and all of a sudden he's arrived in Scottish football, and he's you know, he's the second coming almost. And I think it's one of those ones. Go and get warmed up there, and at least it makes it look as if I've got a plan to try and get out of this.
He was listening to me in the Friday feeling, definitely. I mean, he reacts. He influences outcomes even when behind. Aye, all right, Jimmy.
See, I don't want to go on a tangent, but
really,
do you think there's a chance Rangers will go for him?
No,
because I was listening to loads of debate, and they're going, well, who do we go for? There's only Derek McGuinness, and I was thinking,
follow the cycle, Terry. You go for an option, and then you go back to Rangers, man.
No,
then it's for an option.
The answer's sitting in front of you, today,
Rangers man
today
next.
Aside, the guy's done an amazing job. But
it's Rangers man next for them.
So
then it's back to the foreign option. But aye, follow the cycles, mate.
Next year, right? Okay.
Aye, next year,
right,
maybe.
Back to this one. More important matters.
So
Kyogo, absolutely ruthless finish.
The ball through from Nicholas Kuhn to Maeda, outstanding. As he's getting filled. But that pass is ridiculous. Yep. Maeda, though, the presence of mind, but I do think their keeper's dodgy. That Mitov. He's ran out and done nothing apart from make
our
opportunity better.
That was his ball.
Maeda's pace is ridiculous, but the fact he's got the time to then do a full 360 turn and just calmly pass it across for Kyogo. And yep, I did expect it to go over the bar when he first struck it. I was halfway through texting you.
No. I don't answer text during the game.
No, I know. No, I'm not that quick at texting you. But anyway, underside the bar, a killer finish for Kyogo, 2-0. But I thought Kuhn and Maeda's involvement in that is utterly outstanding. The vision from Kuhn, the execution of that pass, and then Maeda's just complete calmness. Sometimes he can be quite erratic in these positions, and you wonder, what is he thinking right there? What pictures is he painting in his head? Where it was this complete awareness of the situation, calmly turned, perfect pass in for Kyogo to run onto, and then, of course, the big occasion. Kyogo, he's always going to get in the score sheet, isn't he?
Maeda had 2 involvements in this goal, Bhoycie, and he was the one that nicked it just about 30 yards from our own goal. Whenever Aberdeen were in possession, he nicked the possession back. And then you've got the ball from Kuhn, which was superb. I think it was keeper's ball all day long. I think the centre defender was ponderous because he was already on a yellow. And when you've got you give Maeda any sort of advantage, and he's all over it. I don't know what happened there. Aberdeen should not have conceded a goal from that situation. Either the defender or the goalkeeper should have sorted that out.
There's clearly been homework done on Maeda's threat, and it's overplayed in their head.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah,
that's what I think.
Yeah,
the defender had already accepted he was going to lose the race.
Yeah, that should have won.
The keepers came out half panicking and done nothing apart from take his cell away for the goal.
But let's give Maeda a bit of credit.
Threat, though. Oh no, it's not me being
composure. When for someone who lacks composure, he showed composure.
What you've already said. That's what I said. The calmness of that part, brilliant, absolutely outstanding. And I think the fact that Aberdeen were spooked by him and haven't reacted maybe naturally to that situation is also testament to the fact that Maeda gives teams the fear. Kyogo's finish, absolute peach, deliberately off the underside of the bar, Terry.
Of course. It was the only place where
makes it look a bit better. Love that.
It always looks better getting off the bar.
We're rocking and rolling by then, aren't we? rocking and rolling.
It was starting to come together.
Put it this way, this 2-0 felt better than even the last time we were 2-0. Not that I envisaged what happened against Aberdeen last time either, but this time I went, no way. Like, that is, for me, they're getting put to the sword now. And that's when I think this attitude of Brendan in the touchline is caught Mulgrew's eye, because he's going, he's ensuring now this time around, no let up. Fuck that, you know what I mean?
But there's a wee bit of the image thing there as well, Bhoycie. So we've said about Jimmy letting it look as if he's going to make a sub after 32 minutes. I think Brendan 3-0 up and causing a scene. It's kind of like, you know, it's look at me, we're 3-0 up, I'm not happy.
Who's the golden goose in this league? Who's the golden goose? That's what you're saying. Is this the new kid on the block? Who's the best man? That's what I think. 100%. There's an ego thing there, and I love that. That's how it should be. Are you the best manager in the league all of a sudden?
What about his Hampden record? That's 12 out of 12. Hope it's not unlucky 13, by the way.
But it won't be. That's the thing. He removes all that shit. Maybe 13 goals if it's Rangers. That's the only way that'll happen. I felt we were going to get another goal, and we do. And it is Big Dyson. But again, Nicholas Kuhn involved. That pass is... the weight of the pass is only right if it's Maeda running onto it, such as his pace and his alertness. But it's just a great move. That's understanding then between those two.
Yeah.
Great pass, Maeda, and those sort of finishes when he does that, you can't argue with that. It just doesn't always look as convincing as that, Maeda. That sort of finish there, you're going, wow. And by that point, it's just whatever you thought the half-time team talk was going to be. Jimmy, Nielsen, all you hammer throwers, suddenly it's just changed into, what now? Do you know what I mean? And the silent assassin who speaks perfect English is just a way to put, his leather gloves on, do you know what I mean? And put a suit on. That's what he's like. I don't know if you've seen the... how many shots was that?
3. I kind of overdone it a wee bit there.
It's because it's not Blue Label. You know
Hardly not. I don't have
you're on the weak stuff tonight.
I haven't an awful lot of room for the mixture, to be honest.
I don't know if you've seen the Usyk Fury press conference last week. Usyk, the guy's about to fight, wore a suit with black leather gloves like a hitman with a briefcase. Maeda's a bit like that. No talking. Just utter silent assassin, mate. Love it. And that half-time team talk, as I say, for Aberdeen, completely goes out the window with that goal. 3-0 up now. What do you do?
Damage limitation.
And I'm sure Kyogo, as he
walked couldn't do that.
Kyogo walked up the tunnel going like this, can't catch me. Pause it. Anyway, get to half-time. Are you in any doubt, Terry, where the game is going to go? Do you think Celtic will put their foot down? Or do you think he'll make quite a lot of changes thinking of Tuesday?
Well, do you think he should have been booked, first of all? The manager. It was funny.
That's a booking for the pass alone. Definitely.
But the last moment that I can think of in Scottish football that was anything like that was, do you remember?
You should have get slide tackled.
No, I'm thinking Gascoigne. Do you remember Gascoigne picked up the referee's yellow card and showed it to the referee, and the referee took it off him and showed it back again?
But that ref was serious. See, to be fair, Clancy walked over laughing, going,
I know.
I've kind of got to follow the rules through. Do you know what I mean?
But in a weird sort of way, though, if something else had happened and he got booked again, would he have missed the final? Would he have missed the final, the manager? Rodgers. If he got booked again in the second half at some point, would he have missed the final?
No, he's not going to try one with his right boot as well. Do you know what I mean? He's not going to get 3. I mean, no.
From a Celtic perspective,
could he be in, Terry? Do you know what I mean? He's 3-0 up at half time. He's not coming out the second half all raging. You know what I mean?
But from a Celtic perspective, as you say, then the opportunity then presents itself. This game's done and dusted. Do we go out here and make a real statement? Do we go out and start to prepare for Tuesday night?
Yes.
We did both. We went out and made a statement, and we also made preparation for Tuesday night by getting some of the key guys off, getting them wrapped up in cotton wool, but also putting Aberdeen to the sword. So I think it worked out perfectly. We did both. It didn't have to be a choice between between those two things. We just did both because we could.
Well, exactly. And the thing is with these subs, Terry, contrast and compare with last year, they're threatening subs that we make now. You're actually going, oh, aye, looking forward to seeing Bernardo today. Do you know what I mean? Like, see what I felt last year at times. I never had that belief when we were making subs, they would change games. I remember we were all getting exasperated by the fact it turned back to James Forrest. By sort of December, January, you're fucking. This year, it feels like when Celtic bring on subs, they're almost a fucking dig at the opposition as well, going, here's the itinerary we've got. It's intimidating. Now, the level of depth we've got to the team is so superior to this time last year. It's unbelievable. And we can now use it at the right times, especially if you're dominating games in the way you should. That then allows you the flexibility to do these changes maybe earlier or at a time of convenience. And Engels, 2 assists. You can bring him off just after an hour. It's quality, mate. Being able to do that with a like for like. Because Bernardo's not having a bad season either.
No.
These it never felt like this last year. Do you know what I mean? Like Matt O'Reilly coming off after 2 assists, you're going, Jesus Christ, only 3-0 up, mate. This could go Pete Tong any minute with us. Game of 2 halves and all that. This year, it's just a big, far higher level of confidence across who we've got in the squad and how we manage games compared to this time last year as well.
Regardless of who I think was man of the match, who were the 2 key players for Celtic today? Who were the 2 that shone above everyone else?
Today?
Yeah.
Nicholas Kuhn, just to agree with you because I can't be asked following it. Yeah. And I thought Engels first half for me. Engels first half for me.
Well, the answer you're supposed to give for the point of my argument was Maeda. And what I was going to do then was compare and contrast to the Yang and Palma playing during the week.
Yep.
And the reason Yang and Palma came in from the cold during the week was to have those other 2 guys absolutely 100% prime for today.
Yep.
So you've kind of ruined the picture I was trying to paint, but you know where I'm going with it. And people were saying, well, Yang's just come in from left field. Palma, where's he come from? He doesn't deserve a start. The thinking behind that during the week was this is one we can get away with. And those 2 guys were 100% prime for today. And that plays into the performance. I didn't say Wang. I said Yang.
No, but
I said Wang last season.
It's Graham's favourite. He always mentions it.
I don't even know if it was last season. I think it was last season. I said Wang. That was after quite. That was after quite a few.
One of those trebles, like definitely.
Oh, a big treble,
But the thing is as well, like I was saying even last night and to you midweek, I was like, it's obvious who the first choice 2 wingers are.
Yeah,
it's blatantly obvious who they are, and I think tonight, of course, that enhances that belief, and you could see it for a million miles away. That's okay though to have like 2 guys in your first team who are proper elite Celtic players who you're counting on. Nicholas Kuhn, though, the turnaround in him is unbelievable for what we thought we were getting. Based on, though, to be fair, a transfer record so poor for the summer, you can kind of see why there was little faith that the 2 guys we brought in January, we were promised 4. One was in the last day alone for the 3rd choice striker for Norwich. Who? And Nicholas Kuhn, you're like, is that a Celtic 3 million again? We're expecting bigger bucks to be spent. We're in the middle of a title race. This guy is the real surprise package so far this season in terms of what we thought we were getting over a 3-4 month period last year to what we're getting now. It really is night and day.
Totally agree with you. And I made a snap judgment on him. I really did. I made a quick judgment and I thought, nah, he's just another one of these £2-3 million players that just falls by the wayside. By the way, Bio scored 4 today for Watford. Just when we're talking about one of those £2-3 million signings that falls by the wayside. Bio. He got 4 for Watford today. Aye, did I?
What?
But Nicholas Kuhn, Bhoycie, the turnaround. The turnaround is unbelievable. And see if all it needs is a visit to the dentist to make you go from what he was to what he is now. I'll be going to the dentist tomorrow. Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable turnaround. And
I met him in Turkey.
He's got an added incentive coming into this game during the week, being from being a German player playing against a German team. All today's really done is, and I know I'm jumping ahead, is it's whet the appetite for during the week, because that's going to be a clinker. That's just going to be a game of basketball end to end. But Nicholas Kuhn, I didn't see anything in this guy in anything that we've seen last season to think that he was going to be a massive contributor this season. And it just proves to me sometimes you just have to give people an opportunity. You've got to give them a bit, again, settling in time. And
what he's also developed, Terry, is his form started well in pre-season, right? The form was good, but it's now the personality, the temperament. He's got so much more, I don't know, dig about him. He just seems a bit more pissed off on the park, which I love. And I mentioned that about 4 weeks ago. I said to him, I never had him down like that whatsoever. And you see it more and more now, just a wee bit more. I think it's when you realise your importance to a team like Celtic. So I'm actually key now. That responsibility either grabs you or you shrink from it. And he's grabbing it.
So see today, I think he might have been involved in 4, but I think he obviously scored 1, which was a cracking goal. And I think he then was the assist, as in the person who laid on the goal for 2 of them. So that's 3 goal involvements today, even though he was involved in virtually all of the goals. But
his finish wasn't bad either.
I'm pretty certain that his goal involvements now are at a higher rate than Jota's were.
Ooh.
I'm pretty certain. I heard that during the week before today's game, even before today's game.
In what Jota periods? What snapshot of Jota's games are we looking at? His first.
I don't know. I think you can pick any of them, to be honest.
Can you?
Yeah. I'm pretty well. It's not far away, Bhoycie, and it can't be far away.
I don't see the merit. I don't see the merit in the argument. I think it's just more about his journey.
No, I do see the merit in it, because we sold a player for 25 million and replaced him with someone at 3 million who's getting the same output.
Did we though? Or did we get him like months later when we realised we'd fucked up at replacing Jota first time round? Palmer was Jota's replacement, mine. 7? No?
It depends, because if you're talking about Jota on the left, then yeah, Palmer probably was. But we already had someone on the left.
So we'll go with the right winger that was signed
on the right.
Jota
on the right.
No, you're right.
Or we just Jota on the wing.
Gary Hooper was Henrik Larsson's replacement as well. You're spot on, mate.
Listen, you check the stats. I'm pretty certain Nicholas Kuhn's stats this season add up to Jota at any period in a Celtic time.
What, over the amount of games they've played?
Whatever.
That's what I'm asking. Like, I don't know what you mean.
I don't know. I don't even know what I mean myself.
He's had more goals and assists than Jota ever.
He's involved in goals every single week, just like Jota was.
Totally. Brilliant point. Right, okay. Don't know what this guy. He's arguing with himself and Jota. Anyway.
Is that dog all right there?
He's playing dead. Do you know what I mean? Someone phoned the RSPCA. I'm too busy on the pod. There's a cat up for manslaughter or cat slaughter. Anyway, right. What about his finish?
Fourth goal. Kuhn again sets up Maeda.
Yep.
We bit of luck in Kuhn's run. He makes his own luck. He's travelling at pace, dribbling at pace, going past players.
There's a 1-2 with Nielsen, which I thought was brilliant. It was Nielsen, was it not? That ricochets. It was definitely, in fact, that big, that hammer thrower.
He deserves that. It
was brilliant. Nice 1-2 with him.
Don't like him at all.
Get it right round him. We 1-2 with you, mate. Off your shin, straight back in my path. I thought, oh, that's sweet.
He was took off shortly after that. So Maeda, the thing about Maeda's hat trick today, Bhoycie, he probably couldn't have missed any of them. Even for him, like even for Maeda, he probably couldn't have missed any of them. They were just on a plate for him. Hat
trick, eh? Big danger, Maeda. What a player.
David Logue. What a week for David Logue, by the way. The news that he shared, and then this Maeda hat trick that he's been talking about for about the best part of 2 years, that comes to life all in the same week.
How many goals has Maeda now got? Double figures this season?
For this season. Don't know. You better go and check. I don't know what kind of argument you're trying to make.
Oh no, probably just more than Jota had in one game, something like that. Anyway, brilliant to see him get a hat trick at the League Cup semi-final. As I've
Amazing.
always said, I do believe he is the one out of all the players in Celtic squad when Rodgers came in that he's went, no way. Like, did I expect to be hanging my hat on you? Just because, he always likes the technical players. And Big Maeda, I think, has been the biggest. I think he's his number one Japanese player at the club.
Do you think he's come in? Do you think he's come in and thought, I need to replace him?
I think he would have his doubts over Maeda more than Hatate and Kyogo, put it that way. I think easy on the ice. I think he'd have been more confident in the other two being Brendan-type players than Maeda. Now, I think he's his number one out of the Japanese trio.
So do you then think that he might in some way have changed the manager's outlook on football, because he's just the absolute opposite of what a Brendan Rodgers player.
He's a wild card, mate.
If you compare him, if we look back at first time round, and Scott Sinclair is the quintessential Brendan Rodgers player, Dyson Maeda is the complete opposite of that.
Correct.
And nobody's too old or too experienced to learn. And I would imagine at some point in the last 12 months, Brendan Rodgers has reflected a wee bit and thought, this guy's changed my ideas about football. Because he's, as you say, he's his first pick, but he's the most un-Rodgers-like player you could possibly... If you were creating an AI non-Brendan Rodgers footballer, it would be Maeda.
Yep.
And he's his go-to man.
I think he's Martin O'Neill's Didier Agat. That's the way I would see it. Agat was signed having scored 3 goals in 4 games for Hibs. So he's meant to be competing like in the forward positions.
Yeah.
Becomes his right wing back. And O'Neill must have been going, really? Why am I like this guy? What's his CV again? Wraith Rovers last year, 20 odd games. A 3-month deal he got at Hibs. And suddenly I'm playing in like Champions League. Do you know what I mean? So it's wildcard signings you need in the squad. And good on him, by the way. Absolutely love it. And he must be mayhem for all defences. European level, domestic level, the lot. I think he is your worst nightmare to come up against. If it's not going to be a physical battle, that's the last of the other side of it you would want is Dyson Maeda. Do you know what I mean? Not a minute's peace. And when his team is in possession, his movement, his pace, it's just a nightmare, mate. Absolute nightmare. And then the unpredictable comes into factor too, because even he doesn't know what he's going to do.
Yeah, we talked about it.
He doesn't know what he's going to do. How can you read that?
We talked about it during the week. When you're comparing him to Palma, the minute Palma does anything wrong, everyone's on his back. And there were actually times in that first 28 minutes where Maeda done stuff, and I'm going, see if that was Palma, the 25,000, 30,000 Celtic fans would be on his back straight away. But because it's Maeda, he gets a by ball because he's capable of what then comes next. So today was just the whole Maeda thing. This is why
is he playing better football under Brendan now than he ever did under Ange?
Interesting debate. He's probably doing the same, Bhoycie. I think what today shows though is this is why we put up with the awful first touches, with the sclaffed crosses that go into Rosed, with the shots that go out for a throw-in. This is why these are all kind of accepted, because it's part of this guy who just does more good for Celtic than he doesn't. And it's still an interesting one, because Palma against Maeda stats probably aren't that different, but it's just that whole perception and that whole way of looking at things. And whereas with Palma, you focus on the negatives, with Maeda,
that's true.
The positives. But today he showed everything as to why, as a support, we forgive all the things that just aren't very good because of what you got tonight.
He gives defenders nightmares, undeniably. And then I think as well, he's one of these players as well. He'll be in their mind before you next play Celtic again. So
do you think the Rangers captain will be going to bed tonight hoping they get beat tomorrow because he doesn't want to face Dyson?
I don't think he's slept in 2.5 years. I think he's slept in 2.5 years.
Here, he hasn't been banging the goals in this year, the same as often.
Who?
Tavernier.
Jenky's got more than Jota, didn't his period at Celtic?
No, I don't think so. I don't think Tavernier's got anywhere near.
It must be the penalties. Him and Shankland are suddenly not in the goal scoring charts.
Shankland's done nothing this year, by the way.
Because Hearts and Rangers are the only two teams in the league not to have a penalty yet.
Right, I'm sure that'll change. There'll probably be about 4 or 5 tomorrow, but.
So anyway, we make it 6. Undecided the bar finish for Kuhn. What was it? Undecided the bar?
That was 5. No, Kuhn was 5.
Oh, was he?
Kuhn was number 5, and then the best goal of the whole lot was number 6. Maeda for the hat trick.
That's right. Sorry, talk us through it, Terry.
The 5 goal.
No, the 6th one, the best one. You hyped it up, mate.
I was trying to work out how many players were involved. So I think Johnston, Bernardo, Hatate, Johnson again. No, I think Forrest actually was. I think it started with Forrest. Forrest, Hatate, Bernardo with a flick, Johnson, Maeda. I think that was it. That's half the team. Half the team were involved.
That's classy.
In about 5 seconds, half the team were involved, and that's probably the best goal we've scored this season. And we've scored quite a few, and we've scored quite a few good ones. That was just perfection. That was football played at pace with style, flick, effectiveness, and you're putting it on a plate for Dyson. As I said, he couldn't miss. As with all 3 of his goals, he just couldn't miss. And Alistair Johnson again, getting forward, getting involved. And I think Alistair Johnson's numbers are right up there with Jota as well.
Who isn't, mate?
Yours.
See, the thing is, oh no, mine are. Attitude and application. Tony Haggett used to always talk about. See the fact that type of goes the 6th. Do you know what I mean, Terry? Is that not what's the most refreshing thing? That desire, that absolute to the last minute, still going for the jugular, still going for the killer. The killer. Yeah. I just like that attitude for the team. That shows there's no let up here. It was a statement win today. It was to put Aberdeen back in the box. It was Brendan maybe doing a bit of peacocking as well. But also, it puts us into midweek in the best frame of mind possible as well. The stakes were high today. Make no mistake about it. Just because we've won 6-0 doesn't mean this was a routine fixture prior to it.
No.
It was far from it.
This was the biggest match of the season. This was the biggest match of the season. Build. No, it's not. The biggest game of the season.
Yeah. And someone's all had to go. 6-0. It doesn't mean that was just a routine win. When you look at the fixture before it, this was high stakes, high pressure, all eyes on it. We come out like that. Does that improve the mentality or keep the mentality as high as it possibly could be going into the Leipzig game?
Yeah, I think it's the best possible preparation. We're going in there on the crest of a wave. Now, remember that Atalanta game, we went in after drawing against Aberdeen, and I had said that was probably a good preparation for that game because we'd had our first real domestic challenge of the season a couple of days before we went to play away in Italy. Now today we didn't have any challenge really, but I think it also has a really positive influence on the game for I think it's Tuesday, isn't it? It's Tuesday we're playing. I could be wrong. It could be Wednesday.
No, it's Tuesday.
I'm pretty sure it's Tuesday.
No, it's Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, this is one, whenever the draw's made, this is one that I look at and I expect us to pick up points even before the season starts. But given where we're at, given that we're ever so slightly ahead of schedule in Europe, I'm looking at this game on Tuesday night and I do not expect us to lose. I don't expect us to lose the game. I think we'll get something out of it. But this Leipzig team are the reason I said it earlier on, it would be like a game of basketball. They're just so open, and the game that they play it's just goals all the time. If you look at their results, both teams score more often than they don't. And I think we're going into off a 6-0. I've just checked their score. They were beat by Dortmund 2-1 in Dortmund, in Germany, in Dortmund. But I think this will
McNally.
just be an end to end. I think this will be the slobber knocker of all slobber knockers. I think it'll just be end to end. And I don't think as much as we produced that performance away in Italy, I just don't think in a home game I just don't think we'll be able to adopt that same approach. We just can't. The manager won't want it. The players won't want it. The supporters just won't allow it. I think this one will be a bit more of the gung ho, and I expect goals. I expect goals at both ends, but I totally expect us to get something from it. The last time we played them at home, we beat them, and I'm going into it very, very confident, very hopeful. But the absolute least I expect out of this game is a point.
You talk about the same approach, though, Terry, and I look at the last 3 games. 3 different approaches. A routine domestic home win, right? With an more experimental lineup, shall we say. Dig deep away draw against Atlanta, completely unfancied, against all odds. Backs to the wall job, but done. Then today in a semi-final, an absolute destruction of your nearest rivals domestically. Now, I look at that and I go, well, there's a variety in types of display anyway. So it doesn't need to be, or even looked at like, oh, we'll go in with the same approach as we did. It'll not be like that. We're quite clearly playing the fixture a bit as well. When you look at those last 3 games examples, yeah?
Bespoke approaches to each individual game.
I thought you said we spoke. Bespoke approaches.
Yes, that's the right word. Isn't that the right word? We're just
bespoke. I know, I get you. I thought you said we spoke, and I was like,
we're approaching it whatever way the manager thinks is the right approach for that fixture.
In comes a really original username, WATP, with a nice avatar there of a white horse, and he says Aberdeen laid down again.
Aberdeen were put down, mate.
Is that what you did on Wednesday too?
Give us a wee like and subscribe there, please.
I buy a program on the way out too. Anyway, sign up $1.99 a month. But I know, you know what I mean. I mean, going into Europe, I always think mindset-wise, we said before the same lineup went to Dortmund that pumped St. John's. I think it was 6-0 as well, actually. And we said, how's that preparing for Champions League? We now do it to the other unbeaten team in the country by November? They're still unbeaten, so we're thinking, right, proper challenge, League Cup semi-final, all eyes on it. We pumped them 6-0. Fuck's sake, man. Nothing can prepare us for the Champions League right now domestically. Absolutely hee-haw.
I think this game, Bhoycie, is just at home. There's no way at home that we're going to go out there and try to do a smash and grab job. We're going to go for it. We're just going to go for it. I think today's the perfect preparation, if I'm being honest with you. Lots of goals, so confidence is going to be flying. The 2 wide men involved in at least 4 out of the 6 goals today. So I think a lot of the...
when the draw was made, and you looked at all the fixtures, home against Leipzig, what did you generally... What would you have... If you were putting like points down beside each game?
Minimum a draw. Minimum.
You thought... No, hopes...
Yeah. At the time, minimum a draw. Because the last time we played...
Are you more now confident of that?
No.
Than when the draw was made? I'm more confident. I feel more confident now since the draw was made in the Celtic side. Which is a good thing. I'm not expecting more than the point, though. But what I'm saying is I'm more confident of said point than what I would have earmarked it for before the campaign began in Europe.
Well, the thing was, whenever I was plotting my European sort of ideal draw, I thought they were the weakest team in their pot. So it's the right fixture for us. But then you also look at the last time we played them, even though that's probably not any massive influence because it'll be different players. But the last time we played them in Europe, we beat them at home. And I thought that as a home fixture, that is against a team in their pot, that's probably as good as you could hope for. And before the season started, I would have expected a draw. Having seen what I've seen this season so far, that then becomes the draw, then becomes the least I expect from the game. I probably am verging on expecting a win against Leipzig, but the draw is the absolute minimum that I think we should be looking at. And
It's
they're a good
exciting game.
side. They're a good side. But Bhoycie, they are as open as the Red Sea. We will get chances galore.
Is that
Chances
Marco
galore
Rose?
against this team.
Is it Marco Rose in charge of them?
It was. It definitely was. I don't know if it still is.
Was he not in charge of Salzburg? Remember
Yeah. He done both of them.
I'm sure it was Rodgers first frame.
He done both the. He
And
done
then
both the
Alberg,
Red
was it
Bull
Alberg
teams.
that did us a favour?
And he was also linked with Celtic as well.
Was he?
Marco Rose, yeah, he was linked with Celtic a few times.
But I remember he was a Salzburg manager. I think we got beat 2-0 at home. And then the last minute, Alberg or someone like that got a draw. And we ended up going through.
Marco Rose is the manager. So he's done both Salzburg teams. He was linked with Celtic very, very heavily at one stage.
Teams.
And
both Salzburg teams.
Sorry, both Red Bull teams. It's like, Bhoycie, stop confusing me.
I love it.
Both Red Bull teams. And he was very closely linked with Celtic as well.
So when people make these personal records about Brendan and stuff, about Hampden and then about, out the League Cup, the only trophy he didn't win when he came back and he wanted to win that. Surely he wants to then, if it is all like that with the manager, he wants to avenge what Marco Rose did with Salzburg when he came to Celtic Park last time. Because they beat us 2-0, I was there. And it was a schooling.
The last time we played Leipzig or something. No, Salzburg.
The other Red Bull team, the other Salzburg
yes.
team. The other Salzburg team, mate.
The other
Remember
Salzburg
then,
team,
was it Alberg? Remember they scored another game or something? Like they got their only point in the group. I think with a last minute goal against whoever else was in the group at that time, we ended up qualifying anyway. But if there is one of those, Brendan Ego things, then hopefully it would be, I want to get one back over on that because that Salzburg team, but miles above us. I think it was 2018 that had been.
Aye. They've gone to the dogs. They're terrible this year.
It's just Salzburg we're playing them, mind. It's Leipzig with the
I know it's not. But see, just when we're on the manager links, Marco Rose was linked with Celtic, but also was Areola at Bournemouth.
Right.
He was really, really closely linked with Celtic, and he's just beaten Arsenal and Man City in 2 of his last 4 games.
Amazing.
It is amazing. With Bournemouth, absolutely. With Bournemouth, with Ryan Christie in his midfield, and every time Ryan Christie gets the ball, the Bournemouth supporters are shouting, shoot. That's how mad the world has gone. Every time Ryan Christie gets the ball, the Bournemouth support are shouting, shoot.
Aye, but it's handy for see where you put the nets at the seaside, midway out. So sharks can't, they're those big balls that you just see it's all Ryan Christie shots. Anyway, NM says, can you say hi to my lads, Luke, Harry and Dylan, watching from London? Of course.
Hi.
What's happening? What is happening? Anyway, Terry, anything else you want to add before we go this fine Saturday evening?
No, boys, we've got all 6 goals covered off. We've all 6 goals covered off. We've fallen out. I've got things wrong. We've talked shite. I've been pissed.
A dog's died.
I think your dog's died about 3 times in the one.
Not even my dog. There's 2 Salzburgs. We've done it right.
There's 2 Salzburgs. Marco Rose manages both of them, and my stats are better than Jaws. I think we've covered it all.
Top man, listen.
Can you just delete this one? Can you
delete
this
one?
Brilliant,
mate. Been brilliant. There's been over 250 live, pretty much the whole show as well.
You want me to get? I was going to get my toenail out. Do you want me to get my toenail out? Do you remember Big Skeletor during the week talking about his? Do you imagine he was going on about the guy's toenail? Guy's toenail.
What is it that happens though to what happens when you get the manager's job at Rangers?
You just lose your marbles. You fucking lose your marbles. I don't know.
If you don't lose your marbles, you're Gio. And they go, see, he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
The only one who left is absolutely
reputation intact. He just goes on to something better. This guy, this guy's Mickey. I'm trying to put my shoe on again here. This guy is Mickey Beale This guy's Mickey Beale on drugs. You thought Mickey Beale was mad. We were listening to the press conferences, and you could hear him getting crazier and crazier every single week, and the shite that he was spouting. This guy's just been doing the same. His head's gone. He's away. His head's away. I don't mean he's away because I don't think they'll sack him because of the
17 million losses at the end of the season.
Because of that. But this guy's in cuckoo land. This guy's a nut job.
It's weird, eh? But we've seen it before. Like, whoever ends up in that position,
they just unravel.
They all become everybody. They all become a wee bit like this comedy sort of cat. The only one that didn't was Gio, and they turned on him because does he get it? Does he care enough? He's the only one trying to keep it together.
There's something wrong with this guy. He's totally composed and always comes across as respectful. And no, there's something not right about him. Pump him to fuck.
But again, as I always say, the one thing as well with this big gap that we've got domestically. Remember, Brendan, he's a big factor in it all as well. Teams get worse when Brendan's in charge. That's just the way it is.
Do you think Brendan Rodgers is here for 10 in a row?
Oh, listen, if he said it tomorrow, I'd still believe it.
The song was made for last time round. Could it be?
No, he'd be bored by then. I don't know.
He's maybe comfortable.
It's a lot of years away still. That'd be what?
20... It's a lot of years away. But where does Brendan Rodgers go after Celtic? I know you're trying to finish up, and you're probably
you're fine. You're
probably on a promise. You're probably on about 3 or 4 promises, to be honest. But where does Brendan Rodgers go after Celtic? And I'm not sure. I don't know if he's still got the hunger to go and try and take where he's at now and go to another level again. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
A lot can happen though between now and 10 in a row. 2030.
I know that, but there's more chance of him staying now than there was the last time.
In 2030, I've got no opinion on it.
Right,
it's so far away.
Good night.
No, I'll speak to you after, mate. Honestly, it's fine. I'll still be your pal. Everyone, cheers. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks so much, Terry, for everything that you do. And well done, Aberdeen. You're going to run us close this year, guys. Cheers.